You are watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen. Paul is not with us today. He'll be with me tomorrow, but I've got a great guest. This is one of my all-time favorite defensemen. This kid, what he could do with a puck at full speed with the old backhand. Saw him do it a couple times in Timmendorf. I only got a chance to play with him 1 year, and his wife, Joanne, two quality people. And of course, what's even better is that I've got an opportunity to speak to him now about Timmendorfer Strand. Of course, we're going to walk through everything with Corey. An illustrious career, AHL, East Coast League. He's been everywhere in Europe. He's been in, obviously, played and coached the British national team, played in the ECHL for many years. We'll talk to him about that. Nottingham Panthers. He's a legend. He's a god. He's as big as you get. And we're really lucky to have Corey Neilson. Just before we get into that, I just want to do a shout out. Do not forget, give a shift for mental health, a very important component of the Stop Concussion platform. Well, we need you to be a part of this. We've got a bunch of people out there, obviously with this pandemic, dealing with some mental health issues, and we want to make sure we're a voice for them. I want to say hello to Lars Jensen, has just joined up and said, oh yes, very great defender. I wonder if he's talking about me or Corey. I don't think I ever saw the defensive zone when I played with him. We didn't need to be in the defensive zone. He was carrying up. He was passing me, for God's sake, to go in the offensive zone. And of course, Michelle Bertz and Britta, two beautiful people. Thank you for joining us. For a second, they thought they were talking about me as a defender, and my good buddy Craig knows there's no back check in my game. So we'll talk to Corey about all of that and the great times he had in, of course, Timmendorfer Strand. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we've got Corey Neilson. Corey, what's going on out there?
Oh, it's going. Thanks for having me, Gooch. This is great.
Hey, Val, go back to that first thing. First sign, one-on-one with Gooch. Michelle Bertz, what do you think the chances are, one-on-one, Gooch on Corey for the winning goal, if I could beat him to score the winner? What do you think of that? Corey, what do you think the chances are I could beat you with my one-on-one? I only have one move. Corey's frozen a little bit. We hope he gets, see, that's what would happen. He's so nervous. I would come down on him and make my one-hand Gooch move and beat him and score the winner. See, he was frozen there for a sec. See, good time, Corey. You were frozen. That meant you
you said something mean, didn't you?
No. I was telling about how I was going to come one-on-one. Zero chance for Kerry Goulet to go around Corey Neilson. I agree that 100%. Hey, Corey, tell us, how's England right now?
England is in lockdown, kind of. It's been pretty quiet for me and the family. We've just been spent some time together. I'm personal trainer, chef, all that stuff to my two young boys. So yeah, doing that kind of stuff. But as I said, the country is most of the time pretty respectful. Everyone's taking their distance. But yeah, who knows what's going on with this world.
Listen, how we've aged, eh? Needs glasses. Not sure what that little noise is. Hopefully we can correct that. Listen, we're going to talk to you about your whole entire career, not just about Timmendorf, but we're going to spend a bulk of the time on Timmendorf because there's a bunch of fans that are going to join us, and they've got a couple of questions with you. And of course, you're Canadian, British. So tell us about that. How are you a Canadian Brit?
Canadian, but yeah, I got married an awful long time ago to a wonderful Scottish lady, Joanne. I think I was 21 maybe when I got married, so that was fun. And then played all over the US, and then finally we decided to go back to the UK, Nottingham, and I think I had to wait 2 years whilst in the country, and then got my citizenship.
Well, we know you're talking some British whilst you were
whilst.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Yeah. Listen, let's go back into the early days when you obviously through your childhood. What did you play as a kid? Corey, where did you play as a kid?
I played in Fredericton, New Brunswick. I'm from Oromocton, New Brunswick. I played there all growing up, and then got an opportunity to play AAA in Fredericton. We had some pretty good coaches, pretty good teams. Ended up going to what's it called, the Air Canada Cup, which is a major midget showcase place, and someone saw me and kind of got drafted. Back in those days, being from the Maritimes, I could play in any of the 3 leagues. Yeah. So I was protected by the Portland Winterhawks in the WHL, drafted by Verdun, Collège Français in the Q, and obviously drafted by North Bay in the OHL.
And that's where you ended up.
Look at that gorgeous guy. Whew. My mouth open?
You're looking good.
Thanks.
You are
Black talk's very, very flashy for a skater like me.
Yeah, and you can skate. There's no question. Hey, listen, right behind me, you see some of the jerseys. Obviously, Timmendorfer Strand. I didn't have a Corey Neilson one. They were all sold out when I went to the store. And of course, the jersey you and I wore, somebody stole it off my back. But I'm wearing, so that everybody over there, I'm wearing the Storm jersey, number 29. I played a couple games as an old guy. So.
Yeah, no, it was some good memories back in Timmendorfer. What a place. What a place.
All right, let's go through North Bay, though, first. Tell us about being, obviously, in the OHL. North Bay Centennials have a rich history. Talk to us about the experience. All right, having a little bit of problems with Corey's Wi-Fi. Listen, it's swimming all across. The Wi-Fi is swimming all the way across the ocean, so we'll be patient with you. So talk to us about North Bay.
North Bay, obviously drafted there, long ways from home. I had a fantastic coach, the late Bert Templeton, real no-nonsense, business hard, disciplinarian. He ruled with an iron fist, but he was fantastic. He really mentored us in a lot of ways. I thought he was really detailed. But yeah, that was my first experience with a real high-level coach who really knew the game. Tough to play for, but fair and honest. If you did your work, you were going to play. And I think he liked what I brought to the table. He was obviously he liked my ability, my size, and he paired me up with a fantastic defenseman, Mike Berman, who he was I don't know if he's an overage, but he was one of the senior guys. He was a fantastic hockey player. So I just gave him the puck and let him break out, and just kind of chipped away and helped out as best I could. We had a fantastic team, a lot of good young rookies, Lee Dimmin, Scott Cherry, Vitaly Yachman. I've played in the ECHL with Gretzky. I was really lucky. I think I was a rookie all-star. We won the OHL championship, beat fantastic teams along the way, and went to the Memorial Cup. So it was a really good experience, especially my draft year, my NHL draft year.
All right, we'll talk to us. Corey is a big Templeton fan. It's too bad he's not here with us today because you guys could get a little bit of information. He loves him. He absolutely adored him. So, and Paul, unfortunately, is not with us today, but he'll be with us tomorrow. Corey, let's go into, now you're in the OHL. You ended up with the Detroit Whalers, and then is it the Barrie Colts? How does that happen in the Western Hockey League? Or I guess it's the OHL. How do you move around? Are you traded?
I think I got traded in my third year. I was having a pretty decent year. Detroit was making a run at the playoffs, so they traded me to there. Played that season, and then I had my overage year. So I completed my 19-year-old year, and I don't know if we're still going here.
Yeah, Corey, I just go down because people want to see your pretty face. They don't want to see mine.
I've never had a problem with this internet before.
You're good. Poor Corey. feel bad for him because we got to jump in and out, obviously, with his internet. We apologize for that. We'll see if we can get that fixed. But I'll tell you what a great opportunity for us to be here and get a chance to talk to Corey Neilson. Only played 1 year in Timmendorf. It's the year that I brought him over with a bunch of really cool guys. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get Corey back. But I know Timmendorfer fans are really excited about having some questions here, which we've got. And unfortunately, we've lost Corey for a few seconds here forward playing. So we're going to ask him some questions about his career, obviously going from, the Barrie Colts. Then he went into the East Coast League with the Mallards, Quad City Mallards, and then off to Portland Pirates. And that's where I heard about him. And I had an opportunity to bring him out of the East Coast League and the AHL and bring him off to Timmendorf, where he was an absolute star. I'll tell you what, he played defenseman, but he could be at both ends of the rink faster than all the players that we had. So just waiting for Corey to come back up. We apologize for the little bit of inconvenience. However, we will get him back on board. It's unfortunate, it's just a hit and miss with the Wi-Fi today. So many people are in and out, and of course, we're dealing with that right now with Corey. I'm just looking up Corey Neilson, one of his stats that I wanted to bring up, and some of the team he actually played for. We can talk about that because we do have a fair amount of Timmendorfer Strand fans on. Obviously, it was with Jason Krylik and Todd Johnson, two phenomenal young hockey players. We're hoping to get them both on here. And then I brought up the rear there. I played with those two guys, phenomenal players. Jason Krylik, 54 games, 49 games. 54 goals, 49 games, unbelievable. And of course, Todd Johnson, arguably one of the best. I would say one of the best centermen outside of Mark McKay that I played with. And Kreisey played on the left wing, and boy, could he shoot a puck. I'll tell you what. Derek Laddiser, one of the best two-way forwards. I would say almost like Bob Gainey and Shane Green, same kind of player. They were up and on the boards, made our second line the strongest second line in the league. And then, of course, we had Peter Renner, Mike Bukowski centered both Derek and Shane. Bucky, sure miss him. All the stories I could tell you about him are endless. And you know what? Maybe one day we'll be able to figure out how to get the internet working from Europe to over here. And we'll be able to have a great opportunity to talk to a guy like Bucky, who we haven't seen. I probably haven't seen him in 15 years. And it was at our Remember game. So it'd be roughly that, maybe 12 years I haven't been able to see him. Mervyn Kopik, I wonder if he's still here in Toronto. I think he was a part of the banking system. Torsten Magers, Michel Mai, of course, was there. Harry Bulka, one of my favorite Germans. And we'll have an opportunity to talk to Corey about that. But what a team. And I'll tell you what, Corey, 47 games, 20 goals, 22 assists, for 2 points. But what's even crazy, as we see Corey, 242 penalty minutes. Corey, do we have you back? It looks like I'm going to have to be a ventriloquist. Yeah, I was really good. I played fantastic. You were good on the back. Corey, how are you doing?
Buddy, I don't know what's going on with my internet right now. It's a nightmare.
Maybe only get you for a couple seconds of shift.
Oh, I can barely hear what you're saying. I'm so sorry. I'm trying. I had to reboot the whole thing. I'm on my phone right now. But
I feel bad. Is it any better now?
It's starting to be. It depends. I think there's a storm outside, so maybe it's just like cutting in and out.
It depends the way the wind blows.
Who knows, buddy? Who knows? But I think I don't remember where I was. Where was I when I stopped talking?
You got out of the OHL, and you got to, I think it was the Quad City Mallards.
Yeah, the Quad City Mallards. It was great. It was a great experience going there again. Rookie season, first rookie season pro. Won a championship, rookie all-star. But it was tough. Like I was up and down in the American League. Played for Portland, I think it was, Portland, Maine.
Pirate?
Pirates, yeah. But just never really felt like I belonged up there. You know, when you're kind of going up and down, you're staying in a hotel and you got no food, and it was a bit of a nightmare. So I was almost happy when I got sent down. I just never really had little birdie on my shoulder to tell me that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. So it was a tough year. And when it was back in the day when I wasn't really an offensive player. I was a defensive defenseman, and I think I fought 15, 16 times that year, which was not very fun. Not very fun, especially the guys I had to fight.
So you know what, we bypassed a very important part of your OHL, and I want to ask you two questions. Paul Rosen, who's always on here, loves to ask this question about obviously the Memorial Cup. Did you get a Memorial Cup or any playoff?
I'm sorry, I missed your question.
Did you get a chance to play the Memorial Cup at all in any of the playoffs?
The Memorial Cup?
Yes, we're going back. I missed that part.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we were in the Memorial Cup. We played against that fantastic Kamloops Blazers team.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, we dominated the two Quebec teams, but lost because I think they had Manny Fichot and Eric Fichot and Manny Legacy, two goaltenders that beat us. And then we played against that Darcy Tucker, Shane Doan. Like they were stacked, and they beat us 5-2 or something. It wasn't even a game. They were amazing. They're fantastic.
Yeah, we had Darcy Tucker on the show, and he told it he won 3 in a row with Kamloops.
Yeah. They had Don Hay, and that team they were stacked. Like you go down that roster, I think probably at least 12 guys made the NHL.
Well, the reason why I brought you back to the OHL is the question that Paul always asks. Obviously, there are kids this year because of the pandemic are not going to get a shot at playing for the Memorial Cup, and obviously the draft years, and you probably know better than anybody, that's a really important time for some of those fringe players that are maybe going to get a shot at the draft, or it's their last year and they're not going to go back and have a chance to play for it. What could you say to a young player, remembering your time playing in the Memorial Cup, what they need to think about as they've missed that chance? All right, obviously the wind's blowing back. So we really appreciate Corey putting up with us. We putting up with obviously the Wi-Fi. It's a really good question. Paul always asks it, and I think it's a very valid question that I know, listen, we have to realize there's a pandemic. We have to realize, the first line of obviously responders. So it's kind of that same question where they're going to miss out. Corey, we're coming back to you. The question was, what can you say to a player that's maybe on the last year of his OHL or the Western Hockey League or the Quebec Major Junior League? They're not going to be able to get back and play for the Memorial Cup.
I would say the exact same thing I'm saying to my son right now. Both my sons. I've got one guy who's getting his NHL draft years next year. Put the work in. Just put the work in and assume that there is going to be a season next year. There's always an opportunity to get better. If you actually are diligent and you put the time in, you can find ways to improve. You can, we have people here, private coaches, athletic trainers. There's always a way. You can work your stick handling. You can find a YouTube video. You can find a resource or a mentor who can actually give you information about your game. People can watch your tape. They can analyze you. There's so many things you can do. And if you just sit back and hope and wait, I don't think it's the best use of your time. And that's what I'm harping on my kids right now. Just put the work in, and they're quite diligent. They're every day, jumping and doing ladders and all kinds of crazy stuff to improve. And that's all you can do right now is be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. So I'll say just something in German. Hallo, liebe Eishockey-Fans von Timmendorf. Wir haben Corey Neilson hier. Tut mir leid mit die Wi-Fi. Wir haben ein bisschen Probleme. Aber Corey in Ishville macht schon wieder ein anderes Interview und wir machen das klar für dich. So, Dankeschön für dein Geduld. Okay, but I just told him, we're having a little bit of trouble with the internet. We'll carry on this interview, and one day we'll do one where we can actually set it up so that people can get the full Corey Neilson. Corey, I was able to ECHL. You're on the move. That's how you played your game. You're always.
I'm gonna try to plug in here. You guys out.
You look good.
I got, say hi to the kids. There they are.
Hey, how you doing, guys? And there's a beautiful light. Yeah.
This one's not mine, but look at the other one. So
hey,
we're
guys.
plugging in. We're going hard line here, Gooch.
That's all right. I've never met the boys, have I?
No, they weren't. I don't think they were around. Not yet.
Do they have any rumors about the Gooch?
Oh, I only say good things about you, my friend.
Somebody's saying, "Are you 6'5"?
I am 6'5". My son's 6'3", and my other guys, he got the shallow end of the gene pool. It's only 5'11". So
that's all right. Yeah, one of the Boston Bruin jersey, is that the one that's getting drafted?
Yeah, that's my youngest. He's 6'3", so he's a pretty little player. Oh dear, I'm gone again.
No, I see you. You're good, Corey.
This Wi-Fi.
Poor Corey. I feel bad for him. Really feel bad for guys that we have them on and they have Wi-Fi issues. As you know, everyone has technical issues. Watching CNN last night, same kind of thing. Corey, do you hear me now?
I'm back, buddy. I'm back.
You hear me?
I hear you.
You're beautiful. Hey, listen, thanks for putting up with it. It's not neither one of our faults. Listen, we're not technicians. You can't teach what's in these hands. Certainly couldn't teach what were in your hands. I'll tell you that.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
All right, so let's get back into, obviously the Memorial Cup story. Very good advice. Both your boys are, how do they, we'll get into the coaching and what you're doing for your boys at the end of the interview, because I want you to give some advice to parents that are in the same situation that you are. You've got two young boys that are wanting to play and they're at high level. What do we do? But the next question is, I wanted to go to a very special moment in your history, and it's called the NHL draft. You hear me?
Oh, sorry, Coach.
All right. So for people that don't know, Corey was drafted third round, 53 overall to the Edmonton Oilers. So I want to, if he's back, I want to talk to him about that draft day. Corey, do you hear the Gooch?
I hear the Gooch now. Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to your draft now. We'll speed it up so we get to Timmendorf. Your draft. Tell us about what a day. Edmonton Oilers draft you in the third round. You got to be special moments.
Fantastic. I didn't know when I was going to get drafted. It was in Hartford. Drove there with my wife and girlfriend at the time. And that was the day when the draft was in 2 days. So the first two rounds were the first day, and then the third and up were in the next day. So I didn't get picked in the first day. It was outside chance, but I didn't think I was going to. And then I was first overall in the second day of the draft. So I always say I was first overall, but it was a good day. I was on the way to the draft. We were running a little late, and there was only 2 seats left on the bus, and my mother actually said, "Okay, we'll just go with your girlfriend at the time, and I'll take the next bus." Got there, sat down. They called my name. My mother wasn't in the stands, so unfortunately, she missed it.
Oh no!
I think she saw me go down, and she saw me drifting around on the table. So, and obviously my name on the board. So
here's obviously I guess it's a rookie card. Not sure what. Yeah, it looks like the draft card. Look at the hair. Oh my God.
Yeah, frozen tips. Yeah, that's good. No, I think that's right after our Memorial Cup run. We all had the bleach blonde mohawks. Which looked obviously pretty good on myself. And I think it was just growing out at that time. So
you look like one of the band members for Uh, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, I'm a looker.
You got it.
Thanks
Okay,
for
so
radio, Gooch.
yeah. So now, obviously, we're going to move into the Timmendorf story. You get to Timmendorf in 1998, 99. I listed off a bunch of the players. We got a couple of questions for you. Look at this shot. Bring the picture up of Corey. Timmendorf. Look at that.
Oh dear. Yeah, right on the beach. Look at that.
So we've
Gorgeous.
got here's a list of the players. There you're with Shane Green. I was just saying, we had Jason Krylik and Todd Johnson. They obviously made me look good. And then we had Derek Ladiseur, Shane Green, Mike Bukowski was there, Peter Rennan. We had a really good team, and we had a great run at it. Jens Kosten was in net. Harry Bulka, remember that Harry? And then we did some things at the beach. Look at that good-looking dude.
Oh dear, look at that chest hair. That's gorgeous.
Look at somebody saying nice haircut, but listen, we need a weed whacker for that right now. So we did a bunch of great stuff there. Tell us about your experience. Before we talk about the players, tell the people that are obviously here, Lars Jensen, Michelle Bertz, Robert Line. There's some people here asking questions. We'll hold off on those questions. Tell us about your experience in Timmendorf for that first year.
Well, to be honest, it was a bit of an eye opener when I got off the plane. I don't remember who picked me up. It might have been yourself, and we ended up. I think it was Derek Ladiseur, Joanne, and I ended up at the rink. And I got there. There was no boards inside, and somebody handed me and Laddie a ratchet and a wrench, and looked at us like we were going to put the boards up. And honestly, we put up some boards on the first day, just getting off this long plane ride from Toronto. So we put the boards. We helped to put the boards up. And then I think the ice and everything got in, and we had picture day or whatever the next day. But the Timmendorfer was where I fell in love with hockey again. Like, obviously, I was at the end of my United League first year, called up the AHL, fighting 16 times. I used to go to sleep seeing punches being thrown at my head, and I didn't mind playing defense. I didn't mind being a big defensive defenseman, but I was a skilled guy in this monstrous body. I was born in the wrong body. I should have been Brian Leach at 5'9", flying around doing sauce passes and things like that. That's what I wanted to do. And credit to yourself. You allowed me to play the game I wanted to play. Or actually, at that time, I was just learning the game I wanted to play. So I made so many crazy offensive mistakes, not because I wasn't trying to be selfish, or I was trying to learn the game the way I wanted to play it. But it was so fun. We had a great team. Crazy could score at will. You were still dominant. Laddie and Greener were great, and Todd Johnson, obviously, he had a pretty good career, didn't he, over there for a while?
Yeah, he had a great career. We were the first line, Todd, Jason, and I. But I'll tell you what, Greener and Ladiseur with Mike Bukowski, as good as second line you'd have in any league, and it still was a third division, but we could take on second division teams easily. And there again, you were. And one of the things, look at those Edge gloves. That's another story. But I'll tell you, one of the things for people that don't know Corey, what you could do, you could skate like the wind. And I saw you love that move where you come in, you're right-handed, you pick the puck up on your stick and do the old behind the shoulder shot. I actually saw you do that.
Yeah, not exactly Rob Schremp. Well, I'm not going to be honest to you. Like, that guy's a magician. But I could do all that stuff. I as a kid, that's all I did is play outside, play with the ball, play with the puck, and obviously my time in Teen Ranch, I had so much time coaching that stick handling, shooting, skill, all that development stuff really came, second nature to me. I loved the practical side and to be able to do it. So, that was one of my favorite years playing in Timmendorf. Just the hockey aspect was fantastic, but it was different. It was different. I mean, there was, the fans, they'd pull up the screen and you shake people's hands after the game, and they were doing conga lines and stuff. It was so wild. It was like a big party Coming from North America, where it's really dry, right? It's a little dull. Over there, it was amazing. The guys had signs, they had chants, and it was really, as I said, it really made me love hockey again. But you get back into the dressing room. There's no trainers. There's nobody to do the laundry. So I did some of that stuff.
Oh God, where are you pulling that one from?
Yeah, we did that. There was smoking in the hallway right outside the door, so the smoke could be seeping into the dressing room between periods. It's crazy.
And they're offering that little Feichels, Vockling drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
Jägermeister. Okay, the actual city itself. We'll get back to the game in a second, but it's a beautiful beach town. I always kept telling people it was a hot summer when we got there. And everybody knows that, we were on a low budget. And so you did have to actually come. Thank God we didn't get you to drive the Zamboni between games and stuff, between periods. But tell us about the city and you being, Joanne being there. She was such a delight to be around. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, no. Well, just quickly to touch on the Zamboni thing, our backup goalie did take his pads off and rode the Zamboni between periods. Do you remember that? He did. But the city itself was it was a pleasure. It was fun. We had a tiny little apartment. Laddie was above us. Spent a lot of time face to face, Joanne and I. The Osteotermia, I believe it's called. I go work out there every day, go to the sauna. It was just a different cultural experience. And Mondays you gave us free, so we would make our trip to Hamburg or wherever, Lubeck or wherever it may be. So it was those days were days we really look forward to. Joanne's a big traveler, so she wanted to see things, but unfortunately I'm really cheap, so I wouldn't take her everywhere she wanted to go. But we did make some of the trips. But the people were always wonderful to me. The fans were incredibly. They loved the team. They loved. They come to the games. They were loud. So yeah, it was a great experience for me.
All right, so we got a couple questions here. One comes from Lars Jensen. Corey, what do you mean? Okay, his English. Sorry, Lars, I got to kind of translate this a little bit. I think it's unfair for you to ask who the best forward is because he's got to say me. What I think is who on the team, let's not say the best, but who was one of those guys in the dressing room that was kind of the prankster and a lot of fun to hang around?
Well, the guy who was the most fun to make fun of was Jens in his leather pants. Sometimes he would pull those up. He did love the leather pants and the double kiss on Joanne, which she, I think, loved as well. So, no, we had his question's great. I mean, obviously, Kryluk was a scorer. Like, he could score. And Todd was an engine, as was Derek. Greener was a bigger body, he was physical. Like, we just had a lot of good pieces. And little Bucky even played defense with me for, I think, half the season.
Yeah.
So it was, and then you were still doing your thing. Like you were getting up there, but man, you still could play. Like you were doing it. And with Kreisy, with Kreisy and Laddie, you didn't put yourself in a position to fail, right? So
as a player coach, and you later on in your life got to be a player coach. A lot of guys do. I wanted to keep that team together. Like I didn't want it to. I think if we would have stayed together for a couple more years or even one more year, but Kreisy and Todd got a great offer to leave. And then, as you know, as a player coach, sometimes decisions are made behind you. Like I didn't want to lose Ladisser. I didn't want to lose, but the budgets got scrambled, and people obviously take it out on the coach because I'm the guy and signing the contracts and all that. So that team, if we could have had that team one more year and put together a couple more parts, I'll tell you what, we would have definitely did some damage in the second division. But hey, that's all part of it. And Criley and Johnson were just two quality people, and they made me better, right? So I knew as a player coach, with Yerke on the bench and you running, you said you play, there's only one way to let you play, because you knew the game, even though you say you were learning the game, because of that big ice surface and the way you could skate. When we had we had Michael, I think we had Veriman on the back. I look at that. I wonder, who is your defense partner?
I don't think I had a consistent one all year, really. Was it Malik or there was?
Was there. Mervyn Kopik was there. Yeah, so we didn't get Veriman at that stage.
Yeah, it was no. It was we had our top guys were really. I thought for the league were really good. Like when we matched up against the top guys, and we just needed the development process with the kids, of the local kids, to come a little bit more time, a little bit more coaching from us. It was we definitely, if we would have kept the band together, I agree with you. But there's nothing you could do. I was leaving.
Yeah.
I love my time there, but I decided at the end of the year, I said, listen, Gouche, it's been a blast. One of the best experiences of my life. But
yes, I remember that.
I really want to try and make it to the NHL. I think that if I can bottle this game that I'm doing here and bring it back and still add the big tough guy a little bit, then maybe I got a chance. And I gave it my best shot. It didn't work, but you couldn't have held on to me for another year. Yeah.
Well, I got to be honest, at that time too, you're watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rowe. Will be back with us tomorrow. And of course, I got my good buddy, Corey Neilson. Though we only played 1 year together, that was a dynamic year. I played with a lot of good players, as you know, but you were a lot of fun. It's unbelievable how much fun you brought to the game too. Always smiling, always having a good time, and that was really important for that team, because again, we were low budget. We weren't the biggest team. You brought size, and I want to get back to your size in 1 second, because I think the team, when I started trying to get everybody to sign for the following year, I can honestly say, and if you remember upstairs, I had the office. We had that meeting upstairs. You, Johnny, and Kryaluk. I actually cried a couple times, knowing that I'm not going to be able to replace that for the following year, and which I didn't. I'll tell you that. Obviously, the following year, I brought a couple other guys, and they were great players, but they didn't have the same personalities, and it actually cost me my job. Not their fault, but I just knew I was going to have a tough time placing you guys, and unfortunately that did. But that's part of the game, as you know. Moving on to a player coach, there are decisions that are made that you have no control over. So let's now bring you back quickly. I know we've got about 15 minutes left with you. Let's bring you back overseas. You come and you play for the Louisiana Ice Gators. So you were playing for the Ice Bears or the Beach Boys at that time, but the Polar Bears, and now you're playing for the Ice Gators. Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was well, first off, after Timmendorfer, I went back and went to Teen Ranch, and I decided I'm going to carve my way out. So Team Canada actually had a training camp in Teen Ranch, and they didn't have enough guys, so they needed defensemen, and I just said, well, I'll fill a jersey just for a little bit. So I went out there, and at the end they said, listen, we want you to come to main camp. We think you can make this team. I think it was Tom Rennie at the time. So I talked to Joanne an awful lot about it, and the problem with playing for Team Canada is you don't make any money. So it would have been really difficult for us and starting a family and all that stuff to do it. But she was on board. She was going to give me that chance, and I went. Unfortunately, that was the year it was close to a lockout, but I think they had a lot of guys come down. It ended up in Louisiana, and I tell you, that is a different world. The Cajuns. The food, the hockey. The hockey was amazing. The East Coast League's good. And I just I fell in love with the city. I played 3 great years there. We had Cade, my firstborn there. And yeah, it was. I started to play my game. I still balanced. I still had to fight. I fought some awfully tough guys, which was a mistake on my part. But I put up some big numbers, and unfortunately, the reason why I guess to segue into the reason why I coach is there was never a person when I played who just tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, stupid, don't do this, or do it this way," or "Why don't you fight that guy? The punch in the face doesn't hurt that much," or "Why are you going to Germany in your second year when you're already on the pathway to achieving your dream and playing the NHL?" So I just never had that guy. So it was all these mistakes. I made career suicide at every kind of stage. And I just wish that's why I do it now. That's why I love this opportunity to coach and teach, mentor kids and young players, especially, to hopefully realize their dreams a little bit better than I did.
All right, just before we go into coaching, I wanted to bring up, you played in Pensacola for the Ice Pilots in 2003-04, 72 games, 19 goals, 59 assists for 78 points. That was a big year for you.
Yeah, that was my real offensive breakout year. I had the first line that year was really, really good. I think Tyler Beachy played in the DEL for a while. Dwayne Hay and Aaron Phillips, they were a fantastic line, and they were together all year, and our power play was good. And basically I was everywhere. It was like Timmendorfer. I was all over the ice, up, down, skating all around. And it was just one of those years that everything kind of came together, and everything I touched ended up either going in someone's stick in the net or with me shooting it in.
All right, just as we're going to your coaching, we are going to host our Remember game once we get out of jail here. We've talked about it many times, and we're hoping that, Corey, I know you're a coach now. We'll talk about that in Germany. So we're going to get you to fly in and fly out. It'll be a Saturday, so we'll make sure you're not playing, because I know I tried to get you one time. We look forward to having you and Joanne join us on a special night. And then excellent. You got it. And then, do you still have contact with any of the boys? Do you get a chance to talk to Todd? I just recently spoke to Todd after many years. I got to apologize to Todd and Jason and Shane, as our lives are so busy. Sometimes you kind of forget. So I wanted to reconnect. And do you have any contact with the boys?
Yeah, you know what? It's all about the people, isn't it? After all these years of playing and coaching, it's about the people you meet. And that was, as you said, a special group. Derek Ladisseur actually reached out via LinkedIn. Found my contact card or whatever it is. I don't know anything about LinkedIn, and ended up contacting me. And he set up a group chat or a group call that unfortunately Joanne and I missed because I forgot about it, to be honest. So I just messaged him back. We're going to try it again here in the next little bit. So that should be great to reconnect with those guys. They're a lot of great dudes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to. I'll try and get to those guys. I know I can't remember, of course, if there were hard feelings, because some guys didn't come back and all that. So I'm sure hoping they understand the business side of it, that I have nothing but respect for all those guys. They were phenomenal. Hey, listen, this is a comment from Michelle Bertz. Of course, what we should do one day is great idea. It comes from our producer, Val. We don't leave one stone unturned. We should do a reunion. We should get 4 or 5 of the guys on and get all the fans from Timmendorf to get a chance to listen to this. Okay, so here's Michelle Baird saying the kids can be happy to have a coach like you. Great point of view and a lot of respect. So definitely you will be coming to the Remember game. All right, let's get into your coaching now. Hang on. So you played in Nottingham Panthers. You were a god in Nottingham. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. You had a tremendous career, and of course, there you also had the skill of being a player coach too. Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, it was. I got signed, and when they signed me, the initial press release was like I was Wayne Gretzky coming to Nottingham, and it was the hardest thing to come into a situation like that. Everyone thinking I was supposed to dominate the league, whereas I was looking at all the other imports in the league, and they're all as good or better than I was. So it was a real tough first year. I think we ended up having success. I played a lot better towards the end of the year, and I think the fans, I got their respect. And then the second year, I was actually player assistant coach. And then the third year to the 8th year, I was player head coach, Reg Dunlop, which was a really, really difficult job, doing all the recruiting, budget management, practice structures, everything you can imagine. I had a great assistant coach to start, and then obviously I got another assistant coach as it went on, and really good sounding boards. But the initial first few years was just about learning. Coaching was always going to be something I was going to do.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, that's a skinny man with
That's
nice
you,
beard.
right? Hey, I well, because I was Reggie Dunlop, and I passed the torch to you then.
Yeah, you certainly did. You taught me the way. But yeah, I was. We had a vision in Nottingham. We were not a big budget. We weren't the biggest budget team. We were but when we started, it wasn't very fun to watch. And what I wanted to do was create an atmosphere that was fast, exciting, lots of goals, lots of offense, and lots of things happening. So the fans would come. We could build our business, which would, get more revenue, which would make our budget bigger, and then obviously we go from there. And over the years, we developed it from, a 2-line team when I first started, to a 3-line league, and then eventually a 4-line league when, we not only won the Continental Cup, but went into the quarterfinals of the Champions League and beat Berlin, in the Champions League. It was we turned into a pretty good team over the years.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Congratulations. I remember watching it. So what's this picture? Obviously that's Joanne, and what is this? Is this the cup that you won?
That's our Grand Slam year. So as I said, I play a player coach for 5 years, and this is the 5th year. I started the season as a player coach, and then I hurt my knee. And I brought in a player. His name's Guillaume Lepine, French guy, big monster, tough guy, awesome sweetheart, and brought him in to replace me. Put him in the lineup, and I went behind the bench, and the team was better. They were better without me on the ice. Well, I had 2 great offensive defensemen aside from me. But Guillaume, he just balanced the team with his size and his physical nature. And the other 2 guys, now they had the ownership to play more minutes on the power play because I wasn't around to steal that job. And it's just, and then I could go behind the bench and actually,
Yes.
manage a bench the way that I wanted to manage it, and have creative ideas and give feedback. So that was a start. And then at the end of that season, that's this picture. We won all 3 championships. The team was absolutely lights out. They retired my jersey. So I woke up the next morning with the elite prospects that I had retired. So then I was like, I guess I'm not playing ever again. So, and then I went on to coach 5 more years there.
What an honor, though. I got my jersey retired with Mark McKay and
Oh, wow.
Marvin Glasner in Timmendorf. And what a feeling, and congratulations. Well deserved, Corey, no question. Before we let you go, we've got a couple more things we want to talk to you about. And it's you coached and played for the British national team, 2 years as a player, and of course the 3 years as a coach. And then we'll get into your time in obviously coaching in Germany. How cool is that to play for Britain and then coach the Britain national, or be assistant coach of the British national team?
Well, it's an incredible experience working with the British hockey players. Obviously, they don't get a lot of respect when it comes to the international game. Back in the olden days, they used to go to tournaments and whack sticks on people, but now because the Elite League is actually a really, really good league, the Brits have had to really work to compete with the 14 imports, and now the Brits are fantastic. They are, they're great players. They're all great players, and they're all great human beings. They just the biggest character trait with the team and their identity is just they stick together, and they'll do anything you tell them to do. And they have much better skill than even they think they do. Except for their receptions of backhand passes, but the whole thing to me is an honor. Like, it's an honor to be able to have anything to do with your country. And I feel like I did my time with Team Canada, which was fun. I'm Canadian, and now I feel like I I've been in Britain so long. I'm not going to call myself British, but I've seen a lot of these players develop over the years. I've helped a lot of them develop and turn into the players they are.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it's and now to see them on the world stage playing against Team Canada and Team USA and Leon Draisaitl from Germany, like
Unbelievable.
it's an incredible honor for them, but they put the work in. They had to come a long way. They were down in the 2 divisions lower. They're playing against who knows who. They win that gold there. They win gold the next year, and now they're where they are. And you know what? They stood up last year. They beat France and stayed up, which is a great accomplishment for a country our size. So.
You're watching Gouche Live. We just got a couple more minutes with our buddy Corey Neilson. Corey, we're moving to Germany. Somebody says,
Yep.
"How good is your German?" Wie ist dein Deutsch?
Nicht so good. No, it's not. The problem with me is I just don't do a whole lot. Like I go to the gym. Like I'm a worker. I go to the rink and I work. I go home. I go to the grocery store and I go to the gym, and that's all I do. So I don't go out a lot, so I don't have to speak a lot of German. I'm trying. I understand a lot. I understand quite a lot when people are speaking, especially people like you with your German.
Grade three German.
Yeah, hockey German. I love hockey German. But I just don't have the confidence to be able to speak.
So now you are in Weisswasser. I know you had a stint elsewhere, but talk to us about what's going on. Obviously, you've had a tremendous career so far with Weisswasser. Where do you see this year? Obviously, with a pandemic being thrown in front of us and nobody knows anything right at this moment. What do you see for your future with Weisswasser?
Well, to see the future, we'll probably have to go back. I mean, I should touch quickly on the first season, which was
absolutely, yeah, Corey, please.
Which was an absolute, fantastic year. I went in there. I got the job about a week before the season started. When I got there, I quickly realized that the previous coaches just kind of opened the door and let the guys out to run riot. There was no structure, systems, any kind of that stuff in place. Speaking with the returning players. So I quickly decided that we had to establish an identity about how we were going to play. Obviously, we don't have the budget or the quality that can just let them out the door and beat teams. So we had to play a really team-centric game and we decided we wanted to play faster than everyone else. So we played the most incredibly vertical, high-paced system imagined. And I had 4 fantastic leaders who really helped me to implement this. And I went to work teaching. I went to work teaching all day long, every day, from the fundamental aspects to the broader systematical stuff. And after a while, we got it. And the team, it played so fast, and it changed Germany, the EL2 in a lot of ways, because in the third period, teams couldn't even play against us anymore. And I truly believe that hadn't our goaltender hurt his shoulder, our number one goaltender hurt his shoulder with 15, 20 games left, we would have finished first that year in the regular season. I don't know if we would have won playoffs. I'm not saying that, but finishing first, having that opportunity to go into the playoffs in that situation. I think we would have had a good chance to at least make some noise. But as such, we finished 5th. We dropped a lot of points right at the end of the year, unfortunately. I think we were just, 1 point out of second. And it was crazy how tight it was at the top. So that was the best case scenario, coach of the year, all that stuff. But it was all down to the players' hard work and effort and just our ability to win games. Because last year was a tougher year. It's always that second year when you come back after, not the team having no expectation to now, oh, okay, we're supposed to be good. Now everyone's got expectation. I think that expectation and pressure wore on our group as the year kind of went through, and it was just a really struggle process. The balance wasn't, great. Our imports, I thought they did a job every game. They put points on the boards, Georgie and these guys, and our top scorer guys. But we just had no depth within the group. Our third and fourth lines, I don't think they got 10 goals all year. And
that makes that makes a big difference. As you know, when you played with us, we only had 2 lines, and then we got lucky with Peter Renner, a good player, and Torsten Mager. That helped us. If you have a third line that can take some pressure off the first 2, I'll tell you what, it's a big advantage for a team in Germany.
Yeah, it's huge, and we don't even want to be a third line team. We want to be a 4-line team. We want teams to be dead in the last 10 minutes of a hockey game. We want to play that fast. So I'm putting them out there, and nothing gets accomplished. They're trying. It was never a lack of effort from the players or a lack of commitment. They just, at the end of the day, it just didn't work out. They just never got it done, or we didn't have enough depth, or whatever it was. So this year we've decided, to go real young. We decided to go real young instead of getting older hanger-oner Germans who are filling jerseys. We decided to go young, give the kids a chance. The country seems to do a good job developing all these young players, but they're kind of flailing around in the DNL, and then they go to the Oberliga, and then so on and so on. Let's get them in early. They can all skate. You've seen, like, my boys, they can skate, they can shoot, they can pass. They just need to learn how to play hockey. So I find these young kids, if you give them information, they can learn. You give them a chance, they can pick it up, because we've had young kids in Weisswasser, we've given them a chance with them, we've worked with them, and you put the detail in their brains. You don't have to break bad habits. So that's the biggest thing we're going to change this year, is we're going to get a ton of these kids, and we're going to try and get some great mentors for them, some great leaders, professionals to show them the way, and we'll hopefully have that balance that we've been looking for.
Fantastic. I hope I get a chance to come visit in Weisswasser. Harry Bulke is from there, Gert Vogel, Ingo Spentek. They all come from there. I think Gert Vogel had a bunch of McDonald's there. So obviously you can see from I'm losing weight now. But, my buddy Hantwana, we had the gold card for McDonald's. Don't forget.
Oh, dear.
All the time. So listen, Corey, I know we've had a great time with you. I know that we had a little bit of internet issues, but what I'd like to do, no, it's not your fault. You know what I'd love to do is I'm going to talk to the boys. Maybe what we could do is do something like that. Maybe have a couple of guys come on, and then just do kind of one of the reunions, like the Slapshot crew. I'll be ready.
Nice.
Ready to pedal up. You can be. But the final question I wanted to ask you just before I let you go, your size. You're a big boy, and you're one of the nicest guys I've met. And obviously, you and your wife are just perfect together. And please give my love to Joanne, to the kids. But, did you feel intimidated by the coaches always going, because you were such a big guy? Hey, you got to go and fight. Hey, you got to go and fight. Hey, you got to throw more bodies. And when I saw your offensive talent. Sure, you took some penalties, but it was just because of your size. You'd hit a guy and he'd fall down like a soccer player, wailing like a fish out of water. Did that create any issues for you because of your size? And I'm expecting you to play that style.
Yeah, no, that was the whole thing. I mean, Edmonton, they drafted me so high at one stage. I was, I think, 8th on their depth chart, according to the Hockey News, and they wanted me to be a Chris Pronger type player, like a big, mean, strong, physical defenseman, cross-checking people. That at one stage in my second training camp in Edmonton, Ted Green actually cornered me, put me aside. He said, "Listen, I know you're not tough. I know you don't like it. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to go back into the OHL and break your stick over someone's head. And then everyone will think you're crazy, and then you won't have to fight anymore." So this is the kind of mentorship and kind of leadership I was getting when I was 18 years old. And it brings me back. That's why I do what I do. But yeah, I always felt that, that was, I was a target out there. I was an easy target because I'm not tough. I love hockey. I love the game, the pure game. I don't mind the fighting. The fighting's fine, but I prefer the game itself.
Well, I'll tell you what, Corey, you mentioned you were tough. You were tough. I watched you play. It's tough being you in that body with all that talent and everybody expecting you. When you played back, there were some games where you're putting 45 minutes on some of the games for us. Power play, penalty killing, forward checking, back checking for Gouche. Well, I was too old and too tired. You were everything to us, so don't forget that. You're so loved in Timmendorf. You only played one season with us, but I can't tell you how many people asked me to get you on this call, and we're going to do it again because obviously with a little bit of the internet, people maybe miss some of the great things that you said, but I'll tell you what, you are a first-class guy. I love you, and I love the success that you're having, and I look forward to seeing you live behind the bench in one of the games, maybe against my buddy's team, Marco Stickno, Dresden and vice versa.
Those are pretty good games. I've been hit by a couple cups in Dresden. A guy's holding an umbrella over my head as I walk across the ice.
Yeah. Well, one day we'll talk about Timmendorf going into Dresden, and I think I got spit on, so we'll and the cops. So it was a little bit of fun. All right, Corey, please give my love to Joanne. Good luck with the boys. Hopefully this pandemic ends really soon so you can get back to Germany and do the magic that you're doing. Can't thank you enough for the time.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity to come on the show. And thanks to all the people in Timmendorf for that year. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Hey, and make sure you say hi to the boys if you get that call. I'm going to reach out to them.
Will do. Okay, pal. Thanks.
Bye. Corey Neilson, unbelievable. Great guy. Love him dearly. Wish I could have had him a couple more years. I would have won a bunch more championships with him, Kryaluk, Johnson, Ladiseur, and of course Greener, and all the rest of the guys that were there. Okay, so we are going off the air and coming right back. We've got Danny Gare coming up, and we're looking really forward to talking with him. All right, we're shutting off. We're coming right back. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out with us.
Let's play some hockey.